Hello, everybody. Today we're going to talk to you about how people are losing money by renting their properties. And we're not here to talk about the rental market, but just some very common mistakes that people make with doing their rentals up, how they lose out on some lost opportunities, and the money they are just leaving on the table by acting too quickly. So today we have myself, Jason McGuire, and I'm a real estate investor with 16 years experience. I'm also the president of the Landlords Self-Help Center, who's funded by Legal Aid Ontario to provide summary advice to small landlords. And of course, I'm a property manager here with Real Property Management, who has sponsored this event to provide some of this great content to you. So what we're going to review today is, did you rent your house too fast? Have we left money on the table? What does this mean? And how could you rent a property too fast? Now, a lot of people love to advertise about how quickly they can turn something over for you. Well, here I'm going to show you today that by doing something too quickly, you have missed out on opportunities and you haven't measured what is there to be available for you. So you'll see on your screen right now is we have a summary of what's happened in Brampton in the last 60 days for 3-bedroom properties. So we can see here that there's been attract 185 units, and they've rented anywhere between $1,275 and $3,000, with right in the middle being about $2,300. And so we're going to look right down here to the bottom. This is where a lot of the missed opportunities are. So we can see here that some places rented the same as same day, some long as 50, and right in here in the middle, 2 to 8 days is where 90% of the properties rented. Now, by renting your property in 2 days, you have not tested the market to see if you have been able to get a higher rent. I would even tell you the same is true with the 8-day mark, because a lot of properties just go. And so I'm going to share with you a formula where you can break out when you're going to start losing money testing the market for a higher amount, so you can get closer to this high of 3,000 as opposed to just going more where your average is in the marketplace. And so with this formula, you're going to look at two different scenarios. You're going to look at one where you're advertising the property when the tenants are still in it. And so this is when you get your normal 60, 90 days notice that a tenant is going to turn over. And I love these scenarios because you have zero vacancy costs, or at least they're next to nothing, because you're not taking up any other expenses during the time they are living there. You have these notice periods where you can start working with people before something has to happen. But what I also like to look at is those unplanned expectancies. So when a tenant has to be evicted, or you've just bought a new property and the place is actually vacant, and it will be vacant for as long as it takes you to rent it. And so this is the part we're going to focus on here is, if you've got an empty property, how many days do you try your higher rent before you start losing money? And I'm going to show you the formula. It's coming up on the next slide here. And so this is our worksheet to figure out the difference between what your goal rent and your fair market value is. And so consider your fair market value, the price that a property would rent within those 7-8 days. You wouldn't have to worry about finding somebody, they're out there. If you price it at this price, somebody's going to show up. It won't be a problem. But we want to go is we want to stretch it. We want to go towards that goal rent, find you the most money we can for your place. And that way, you haven't lost anything. You can take that vacation with the family. You can work towards your next property purchase. You can save a little bit more by paying down your debts. And so in this calculation here, we're going to start off with our fair market value. And we're going to add in, as I said, some cost adjustments here for having these different services. So vacant properties still do cost some money to carry and hold. You still need to keep the gas on, the hot water, the electricity for the lights or the AC, and the lawn cares that most people do omit when they're taking care of an empty property. And so if we plug this all in here, we get a cost per month of $2,635. or an average vacant day per cost of about $88. So now we're going to look at this property and say, well, if I could get $200 more a month, that would make me a happy investor. I would know that my property is performing well. I'd have a little buffer room there for when things go wrong. But if I needed to, I would accept the fair market value. And so, what are we going to do to chase that $200 a month difference? And so let's look at it. So $200 more a month, you can see here when we take our annual rents, works out to be $2,400. If we take this goal difference that we have here and we divide it by our vacancy costs, you can see that we end up with 27 days. And so if we keep looking that down further, we have 27 days to rent our property before we start losing money every day. And so when we look down here, this is our period. This is what we know it's going to cost us to hold the vacant property. This is how long we have to rent it. So if I know I can rent a property in 8 days, and I know that after 27 days I'm going to start losing rent, we have 20 days here to try our higher rent, to get more money for our property before we should start readjusting at the price we know it's going to fly off the shelf. And what I'm going to share with you next is how I love to track what's going on with the property. And so on our screen here, I've taken down a weekly email that we've sent to clients. And this one's even less. You can see here it's for a 6-day period. So during this period, we've got 25 inquiries. We had 16 showings, which is really great. And then we've got some other ones that are coming up, as you can see here. And so down here, we also even measure where our leads come from. So you'll see these will change week over week. You can see that not all of them are identified where they come from because they might just be a phone call. And we track down here even our conversion rate about our showings. So people who inquire, to people who turn into a showing, to people who are actually at the property. And so this can be the daunting number for a lot of people. How do I turn 172 phone calls into 30 showings? Do I have time to take 172 phone calls? But that's okay. That's what we're here for. And I'm going to show you the secret sauce now here. And if everybody who goes to see a property, we rate them. And we ask them to rate us as well. Was everybody at the showing? How did the listing compare to what you're seeing in the marketplace? What did you think about the rental price? So you can see here even that this person gave the rental price 5 out of 5. So either they think we're bang on with the right price, or they think it might be priced too low to give it such a perfect score. Of course, we love to measure how we did ourselves at the property, and then how likely somebody is to apply to the property. So if you'd love to see strategies like this working for you and your property, reach out to us at Real Property Management. You'll see our number here at 416-642-1404 or our website at rpmservice.ca. And you can always come check us out live from our Facebook page where we host events, live performances, and we even do live broadcasts like this one. Hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I wish you happy investing.